Welcome to Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where today I'm taking a look at Hide, Stone and Bone, a small-scale wargame of raids, hunting and survival in the Stone Age, which has options for competitive, cooperative and solo play. Written by Austin Hunt and illustrated by Mars Oosterveld, Hide, Stone and Bone was released by Osprey Games on January 29th last week and is part of their Osprey Wargame series of books, retailing for $14.99. In it you play as a tribe of early hominids, living life in the wilderness, hunting the local wildlife while trying to avoid falling victim to predators yourself, and occasionally clashing with other tribes that share the region. If you diversify and manage your resources well, your tribe will grow and prosper, but if you fare poorly, you face extinction at the hands of your enemies, be they beast or hominid, or simply due to starvation. And for those that enjoy walking on the weird side, Hide, Stone and Bone also includes options to play in the world beneath, incorporating pulp adventurer archetypes and taking on dinosaurs and giant apes. Looking firstly at the book as a physical product, you can see that this is a nicely bound, soft cover volume with high quality printing and crisp images throughout its 80 pages. There's various photographs of Paleolithic tabletop scenes to fire the imagination, and Mars' simple but evocative cave painting style illustrations help set the mood, linking directly to what's being shared in the text. I have to say that I'm not a big fan of the formatting on display here though, with large blank margins that seem like a bit of a waste and seemingly inconsistent layout. Sometimes the photographs are in line with the margin, while other times they encroach into the margin. And it's a similar story with the many tables throughout. Sometimes they're in line, sometimes they're not, and often both happen on the same page. To me, it's a bit visually jarring. The contents page is well laid out and quite comprehensive, but again the layout of the chapters themselves leaves something to be desired, with new chapters often starting halfway down a page and very little visual distinction between chapter titles and subtitles. Finding your way around can be tricky. Simply by adding page breaks between chapters or scenarios and changing the font or graphics on chapter titles would have made a big difference to navigation and made it feel a lot less dense. While reading through the book, I found 28 errors with inserted, missing or misspelled words. Now, they're not really going to affect your understanding of the game, but when pretty much a third of the pages contain one or more mistakes, it's really time to tighten up the editing before publishing. There is one error that could potentially affect gameplay. On page 68 it says to roll a d6 if playing the world below and a d10 if not, in order to generate a random massive beast. However, I'm pretty sure that this should read to roll a d10 if playing the world below and a d3 if not. Oh, and there's also a reference to a rule for cannibals on page 58, but I can't seem to find any other mention of cannibals or how to use them anywhere else in the book. Players create and control a tribe of early people and must manage food, time, which in this case is measured in moons, essentially the system's equivalent of money, and extinction points, which depend on the size of your tribe. Get too small and you go extinct. One of the things that potential players will want to know right away is how many models do I need for my tribe to play the game? The short answer is, I don't know. The much longer answer is that the number of members in your tribe will constantly change. At a maximum, a tribe will have 30 members before having to split, but that doesn't mean that you'll need 30 models, because most of your tribe will only ever exist on paper, but with small groups from the tribe being used in tabletop scenarios, and roughly half of your tribe will consist of youths at any one time, and they can't take part in combat, so they won't be needed on the table most of the time. Because sometimes they will be needed in a scenario if another tribe tries to attack and capture them. Model number, you see, is not static like in some other games. It varies depending on the scenario played. Usually you'll need around 6 to 8 hominid models on the table, but some scenarios need as few as 4, some could potentially use 15, and many are decided on the roll of a d6. When you're building your starting tribe, you'll have moons to spend and will only really be able to afford around 9 members. But Hide, Stone and Bone doesn't use lists of figure types that you can buy from. Instead, players will have to decide if each hominid is going to be human or Neanderthal, male or female, a young adult, full adult, or elder. Then they will have to randomly generate a skill for them and decide what weapons and equipment they're going to be kitted out with. And then youth will be assigned to your tribe depending on how many young adults, and elders you have. And then that total will determine how many extinction points you start the game with. There's a lot of record keeping and formulas involved, and I can see it putting off some while appealing to others. As with most other skirmish wargames, tribe members will each have a base stat block, which will be modified throughout the game by things like weapon type, cover and support. The game system is based on d10 rolls, trying to beat target numbers, and players take it in turns, activating one model at a time. There's a nice stress system, which means that hominids or creatures can be driven off without having to kill them, and models can use their stamina points to make multiple actions per turn, ranging from the standard move, fight and shoot to the more unusual sneak, drag, yell, scalp, set fire and mount beast. Yep, you can ride a dinosaur if you really feel like it. It definitely feels more crunchy than the war games I usually play, with rules about only being allowed to pre-measure up to 12 inches, having to make stress tests for every member within line of sight of something bad happening to an ally, ranged weapons having different modifiers depending on whether you're in short range or long range, and things like that. Some will like the increased realism through the gritty rule set, and others will likely find it a bit too much. Hide, Stone and Bone as a campaign is a simulation of prehistoric life which is played out over a time span of a few years. Each year is broken down into 4 seasons, essentially 4 scenarios, and normally you'd be looking to play a 2 or 3 year campaign, so there will be 8 or 12 scenarios overall. Each season or scenario is chosen by the player and can be either a raid, a hunt, or a quiet season. Raids are competitive play only and pit your tribe against other tribes with 6 different scenarios ranging from sacking another tribe's camp to taking them head on in a ritualistic battle. Hunted scenarios can either be played solo or competitively, with your opponent controlling the predators, and sees your tribe being stalked by large predators such as cave bear or saber-tooth, pack predators such as wolves or hyenas, or smart predators such as the Gigantopithecus. Hunting scenarios can be solo, competitive, or cooperative, with tribes coordinating their efforts to hunt massive beasts like mammoths or woolly rhinos, or herd animals like bison or elk, see off scavengers, raid an animal's den or nest, or take on interlopers to their territory. And a quiet season acts as a sort of catch-up mechanism, allowing a player whose tribe may be struggling to play as the predators in a hunted scenario against their opponent, therefore potentially gaining some benefits for winning while not risking the lives of their tribe. There's a really good mix of scenario types with well thought out opponent AI systems in place where needed, a great selection of predators and prey accounted for, and low animal model count for most games. Approximately 7 to 9 of the same model type is needed when hunting a herd or raiding a creature's den, which is a bit high, but generally only 1 or 2 figures of a creature will be needed for scenarios. There's no maps or diagrams to show scenario layout in the book, but scenario setups are so simple that they really aren't needed. As this is the Stone Age, all scenarios are played in the wilderness, so trees, bushes, plants, rocks and hills are really all the terrain required, with maybe the odd river or handful of tents. When not playing scenarios or seasons on the tabletop, Hidestone and Bone has a really in-depth campaign system to keep players busy between pushing models around. It's less rolling for death and loot and more a highly detailed simulation of life in the Paleolithic. Players will have to roll to see if any casualties die, alter extinction points for their tribe based on various factors, determine if they've hunted any creatures to extinction, manage food points, remove members that starve to death, calculate each member's experience gained, roll to see if each member gains a new skill, roll to see if youth become young adults, determine if young adults become full adults, roll to see if adults become elders, roll to see if females give birth, split the tribe if it becomes too big, and spend moons on making weapons or equipment, attempting to invent new weapons or equipment, generating food to ensure the tribe's survival, going on vision quests to try to gain new skills, or creating a wide variety of cultural items, each with its own benefits. It's a lot to track, and individual members within your tribe are constantly going to be growing and changing, so detailed notes will need to be kept and updated. As such, Hidestone and Bone may not appeal to those that like fast and simple beer and pretzel style wargaming, but those that get a kick out of a more realistic simulation created through granularity will have plenty to enjoy, including Austin's scattered facts and research about real life in the Stone Age and how that has affected his game design. So, which are you? Do you like more complex rule sets to model real life as closely as possible, or do you prefer a simpler, faster mode of play and to hell with realism? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is this one that you're keen to try out, or one that you'll have to give a miss? I hope that what you've seen here today has been of use to help you make an informed decision. I'll be back next time with more wargaming and vintage board games, so until then, this is Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.